What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In the last video, I got all of the Brembo calipers reinstalled on the Evo. If you didn't see the video of me taking these things from the crusty factory faded red to this Lamborghini orange, definitely go check that out. I also installed these new drilled and slotted rotors to go along with them. I also put new pads in them and fresh brake fluid. The braking system should be 100% ready to go. A few videos ago, I also painted the wheels for the Evo. Still working on my painting skills, so I did get a few runs in these. The brakes actually turned out much better than the wheels did. So I'm gonna get any runs, spots, or blemishes fixed up on the wheels. I'll get them installed on the Evo, and then hopefully get to take this thing out for a drive. Stay tuned. The car has been up on the jack stands for a few months, so I am really excited to take this thing out. Sanding and prepping everything and then actually painting the wheels, the calipers, it just takes such a long time. But super happy to finally have everything pretty much done. If you didn't see the video where I painted the wheels, I did get a few runs in each of them, and then some of the places on the edges here, the masking didn't stick well and I've got to touch it up. You can see some of the runs on the edges right here. There's a couple of areas like right in here where the masking that I was using was not really that great, so it peeled the paint when I peeled it off. Overall though, still happy with how this paint job came out. So to get started on fixing all these areas, what I'm going to do is just take a couple of pieces of tape. I've got blue and green, and I'm just going to go along each wheel and just kind of identify all the areas that I can find. I'm going to do the runs, I think, with the green tape, and then any areas that need to be touched up with touch-up paint, I'm going to do with the blue tape. All the areas on the wheels to fix are marked. The main areas with runs are where the green tape is at. Like I said, they're on the outside here, and then I've got a few runs on the inside here. I tried to show some of the worst ones. This wheel right here actually had no chips on the outside, but this one over here had quite a few areas. What I'm gonna do now is I wanna go ahead and start fixing these outside edges where all the chips are at. Most of the primer is still intact, so I'm just going to hit it with the base coat, and then I've got these little droppers that will allow me to apply it. And then once that dries, I'll go back over it with this Scratches Happen clear coat. While I'm waiting on the base coat to dry, I am gonna go ahead and start trying to sand some of these runs down. To do that, I'm gonna be using the toll cut system. They've got a bunch of different K-series sandpaper in here. I'm not as big of a fan of that, but I prefer the P-series. They do only have P600 and P2000, but I've got pretty much everything in the K-series here, so I'll use some of that in between to get all of these runs knocked down. Then after I get them done with the 2000, I have some compound and polish to finish it up. It's the next day. I finished fixing all of the runs and then the little chips on the edges yesterday. Most of the runs were not that bad, but there were quite a few of them, so it did take me a little while. Here's a pretty good example. So right here, you can't see anything, but if you come over just in the light, you can start to make out where that run was at, but for the most part, it turned out great. I ended up not using the P2000 sandpaper. I just went ahead and used the K-Series. So I did use the P600 to knock all the runs down, and then in between I used this K1500, and then I finished it up with this K2500 before the compound and polish. Now that the wheels are all finished up, I do have a couple of other things I need to finish up before I can put them back on. The first thing I'm going to do is fix this rear apron. These are not part of the OEM Aero kit. I got these off of eBay, so they're not perfect. This area right back in here was raised a little bit, and I could not get the adhesive to be hidden, and when I actually washed the car, the pressure washer broke through that adhesive, and that's why this started coming apart. I want to take this thing off. I want to sand that little piece down that's inside of there. I want to relay the adhesive. That way this thing doesn't come off again. This side over here, I did not have any problems. This thing laid on perfectly. I'm going to knock this out, and then I also picked up some new mud flaps from StreetRays. I actually have the exact same set on my ST, except they were actually made for the ST. These are made for the Evo, but same brand. I never had any issues out of them. They worked great the entire time I had the car. The stickers on them are not vinyl, they're not decals, so they do look a little bit cheaper. I'm going to leave them on there for now, but I may end up replacing them with some decals later on. I'm going to get this rear apron fixed, and then I'm going to get the mud flaps installed, and then I should be good to go on putting the wheels back on. All four mud flaps are fully installed, and then I finished up fixing the rear apron back here. I sanded this back part down so it lines up very, very flush now. No issues at all with reinstallation of the apron. Mud flaps, however, I did have a few issues with. The rear ones were actually no problem. These went on super smooth. You replace the factory clip with one of their clips, the screw, and then the washer for this one and this one. For the back one back here, you remove the factory clip and replace it with a screw also, and then the bracket goes in between. You can kind of see there where the bracket is sticking out, and then you just use another clip, screw, and washer. Here's the one over here on the driver's side. For the front ones, I did run into a few problems. All of the problems involve the little bracket that fits behind here. The rest of the screws and the little clips and washers went on just fine. For this very back one back here though, there is a small screw at the bottom that you have to take out right there. And then if you saw in the video, there's the little black clip that actually is supposed to fit in there, and that's what this screw actually feeds into. However, the holes that they drilled in the bracket were not big enough for that clip to fit in. I simply just had to drill a larger hole to the existing one that was already there. The other problem that I had with the bracket is the screw on the bottom was not lining up with the holes that they had. So as you saw, I just drilled a third hole right in between the first two, and it lined up perfectly. This one is the last screw to go in, so what you have to do is just poke a hole. I drilled a hole through the fender liner. You put the little clip that they give you through that, and then again, the screw feeds into that. I was actually gonna leave the fourth one off. I didn't wanna have to drill another hole through the fender liner, but once I actually put all the other three on there, it was very, very floppy. It moved around a lot. So this fourth one is necessary. Now that I have the mud flaps installed and I've got the rear apron fixed, I am ready to reinstall the wheels. This Evo has not had wheels on it in over 3 months. I didn't want to reuse these crappy silver rusted lug nuts, so I did buy some new ones. I decided to stick with a black on black look. These things look amazing. They're gonna look great on these wheels. And then the other thing I bought to finish them off are some new center caps. These are the ones that came with the car. There was only 3 of them. One wheel was actually missing one. I ordered these off of Amazon. The black on here actually matches my black really, really well. I am not leaving the center here silver. It will be going orange. However, it will not be painted like the calipers. Not to give away any future plans with the car, but I do have this orange vinyl wrap, and this is what I originally had. I actually took this to the paint shop with me and had them match this up. For anybody who is looking, Avery Gloss Orange is pretty much the exact same color as the Lamborghini Orange. So I am going to take just a little bit of the wrap and I'm going to use it to cover up those silver logos. Super excited, final stretch. Let's get these things on the car. I forgot that I needed to get the wheels and the tires rebalanced, but after that, no issues. Wheels went on, no problems. I got all of the lugs on, and then the center caps I finished up with the wrap. This one wheel on this side over here, they had to put a ton of weights on it. They had to even stack them kind of high. I don't know how you do wheel weighting, but I mean, it just kind of looks working right now, but I am going to take it out for a little drive and make sure everything is working properly. Brakes feel great, they feel super smooth, no unnecessary wobbling from the wheels. I wish I had somebody on the outside that could get some rolling shots. If you've watched this whole series of me painting the calipers and the wheels, thank you so much. Please hit that like button, drop a comment down below, let me know what you think of the wheels, if you like them, if you hate them. Go and hit that subscribe button so you can see more going on with the Evo, and I will catch you guys next time.